Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I'm going to tap into a topic which might not sound so joyful and happy like my regular topics. Yet, this woman is out of this world. The way she speaks about this topic and how she embodied it and how she overcame the sadness, the emotions, and she literally transformed it into a gift. Well, that's something. And we speak today about grief. And she gave me such a gift with this sentence: grief is the gift I never wanted. And that just hit me because it's so true. It's so true. So you will hear more about what you can do in this moment when you're facing serious grief. She will share how the grief made her a better person, more connected, more loving, more understanding, less judgmental, all the things we're so longing for and we're working so hard to achieve. Marta lost her sister, and she was very close to her sister, and she will share all about it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in my world. Hello, 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 hello. So today I'm having a special guest, and once in a while I invite beautiful, special women to be a guest. And with this special one, we tried to connect before because we wanted to chit chat and maybe want to do something together and we just want to catch up. And we had a period in our lives that we would speak like weekly, and that felt so good. That felt so good. Sometimes I actually had this conversation today. I just came from the beach here in Bali to watch the sunset, and I had a conversation with a beautiful, beautiful sister, and we spoke about connecting with women. And sometimes you don't need, you have friends, for 30 years, but you also have people in my life, in my case, who I met only once, and I know for 2 months, and I'm just totally in love with them. So with my guest of today, I met her. We spent time together online. Just look at her smile. It says enough. She's so vibrant. She's so alive. She's authentic. I feel seen. I feel acknowledged. She's super wise. She can really feel you and give like a very proper guided advice afterwards. That's what I remember from those schools we had. And sometimes you meet someone and she just makes your heart boom, 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 and you feel instant love. And you, Marta, are someone who did that with me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for showing yourself, showing up. I have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you so much. I feel exactly the same way. And I completely agree that you can only meet someone. It takes like an instant to have that connection. And you're like, oh, I love this person. I love this person. This is amazing. I see you. Like, I see your essence. I see your warmth and your vitality and your kindness and your wisdom and your leadership. And I see that in you so much. And it's beautiful to watch.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The technology and for Wi-Fi and for Zoom, because funny, I acknowledge the internet, and then at that moment I see internet unstable.
It totally froze. It was like boom. So that was perfect.
That was very interesting. But we just realized that Marta is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm in Bali, and we are 12 hours time difference. It's like she just shared with me that she has a little time frame. Indeed, she has a little time frame just before going to yoga, and I just came home after like a super full day. And I mean, I was really looking forward, so I run off the beach and I said, hey, I have something to do, duty calls, and here you are on my screen. It's unbelievable. So, hey babe, I have my little notebook here and I prepared some questions and I want to know a lot about you. But I always keep our chats short and powerful. And my first question for you, how do you feel just now in the moment?
Ooh, I feel right now very vibrant in talking to you. This is like such a lovely sunshine to begin my day. Uh, I feel very at home because I'm at the yoga studio that I teach in Pittsburgh, and every time I walk in, it feels like embracing me with a warm hug. So it's really lovely to have this kind of conversation and grounding before I teach. And yeah, I feel
You are
also,
teaching. You are teaching. You're not
yes.
going to take a class. You're teaching. Ah, okay, okay,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I teach at 9:30. And I feel very at peace right now, which is really lovely. I don't feel restless and all caught up in my head, which is wonderful. Thank you
Nice.
for asking. How do you feel?
I feel I had such a, I call it a Bali day, that you go out in the morning. I went out in the morning to go to my boxing class and it was 8:15 and I just came home. Totally unexpected. So 8:15 I went for my boxing class and it was amazing. It was amazing. The guy was just explaining technique so well and I was sharing about it because I I'm all about finding your feminine way and being in your feminine and using your qualities, da da da. But I'm also all about having a healthy balance because we need our masculine to set the boundaries, to have a structure, to be present. You know, many beautiful qualities come from owning your masculine. I mean, it's all about having this sacred inner marriage, as you know also very well. So that's why this morning I felt like I'm doing so much feminine work and I'm teaching about it and I'm sharing it. And this morning I felt like I need to strengthen my muscles and my body and bring the roots out of my feet into the ground. And so I went for my boxing class, which was very masculine for like almost 90 minutes. And then I had a beautiful day of flowing through Bali, laying at the pool, working. So, and then I went for a sunset and I just arrived home. So I feel really blessed. I feel so blessed for the
That is
life
a
that I,
beautiful day.
yeah, yeah. I was just overwhelmed by gratitude for the life that I've created. Yeah. So thank you for asking. Just loved to share this. One burning question, and it's something I always ask because I think it's so beautiful when we know and when we can feel. What are you desiring in life? I mean, if everything was possible, what is it what you still are looking for to attract and to bring in and to create?
Mm, this is hilarious. We all know, like, we all know as we get more in touch with our kind of like divine selves, that those things become more aligned. So this
Mhm.
question has come up a lot for me, and you start to see the synchronicities of like the happy little accidents that happen. And this question comes up a ton for me, especially lately, because lately I have been getting back to basics, like pulling back into my body getting back to the fundamentals of not getting caught up in the work of an entrepreneur, not getting like taken and pulled away and having to create and having to prove and having to constantly make something, which is how I've lived a lot of my life. This need to prove, this need to create, this need to have my ideas form, and I don't regret any of them. But what I realized a lot was that I wasn't putting myself and my healing as a first priority, as like the first priority. It was always there, it was always there, but it wasn't the first priority. So, what I desire right now, after doing a lot of taking a step back and really delving into my healing when I have the space to do it, because my grief has kind of overshadowed that for a lot of years. Community. I desire community, and I desire a sense of belonging and a sense of that fulfillment that comes from knowing your worth and knowing you are enough, and knowing, you know what I mean, and knowing that you can be authentically you and show up in life. And that's already coming to a head for me. That's already happening. That's wonderful, and I love it, and I see it so much. So those are right now my desires, because I feel when we have those things, when we have that connection and that support and that internal alignment, then our desires will become really crystal clear. They'll become crystal clear. And I already kind of know what they are. I desire movement and freedom and love and wellness and dancing every damn day. Dancing every damn day, and to swim, and things like that. But those are my main focuses right now.
And that's very beautiful. I mean, it maybe sounds like a simple question, but do you know how many women are not even able to tap into their desires?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of the reason you just pointed out. There are so many other things you need to become, or things are taking time. I mean, you're mentioning grief. I want to tap into that in a moment. But there's so many live events and structures and conditionings that for some it's even impossible to tap into their passion and to their desires. So you pointing out so clearly, like freedom and community and love and movement and dancing, I just love to hear that. So congratulations for that you own that, because you are here to celebrate. I mean, I feel and I see in you just this super alive being. And of course, what you've been through age you alive. That's what real grief does. And this is also one of the reasons that I really wanted to have a chat with you, because there's so many beautiful things to speak about, but grief is an essential part of life. And I know everything about it. I've been grieving for 8 years on a row, and I thought I would never, never, never get out. And so I know it's a very vulnerable topic. So, but is it also that you're making now a profession out of it, or you're helping others to grieve, or where are you now in regards to the grief?
So my sister died in 2021 from double hit B cell lymphoma. And that definitely catapulted me. At the time, I was coaching on mindfulness to people. I was teaching meditation and then doing yoga and doing sailing retreats, or doing some retreats, but not sailing retreats at that time. And then when she died, I went deep into learning about grief and studying grief, and almost like a voraciousness to understand. And I already had my practice of meditation and walking, but I had hit a wall in my grief where I wasn't moving forward. I felt stuck, completely stuck in a spiral, and I needed something to get out the feelings, this like, I didn't know the word for it at the time, but it was an unresolved feeling that I had with my grief. And so I discovered the grief recovery method, and it was a structured program, and I went through it, and it was completely beautiful. And I decided then to further my studies with it and become an advanced grief recovery specialist and hold that space for people and really approach grief in a different way that has been formally brought the topic to light in a more playful way, in a more approachable way, in a way that shows the beauty of living after loss. And that, like we talked about, that there is so much more on the other side, that there is, it's I call this grief the gift that I never wanted, the gift
Wow.
that I never wanted ever.
Wow. Wow.
But it's one of the most beautiful gifts I've ever been given, because it has shown me what is important. What is important. It's shown me to live more mindfully and more present. It's shown me to live more awake, and it's shown me love, like true love, and what that looks like, and how much abundance that we have inside of ourselves if we let ourselves open the door. So what I really love offering to people, and what I do now, is helping them understand that, and offering them a safe space to bring their grief and discover who they are after loss, wherever you are in your loss, whether it's divorce or, and understanding our grief, and really having them find what life means to them after grief. Like what kind of lives do they want to live? Who do they want to be? Who do they want to show up as in the world? What makes them light up? What brings them joy? What brings them life? What brings them fun and play into their lives?
But very, it's also out of personal interest, because I remember that I was so dark that there was literally nothing what could move me. Like, how did you get yourself moving? Like you said, you were in this downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
I know that one very, very well. But how do you get out? How do you get moving again?
You honor where you are,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have your grief move through you.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that is the one thing that I tell people, and the one thing that I love to watch people's faces kind of change, is really understanding the language of grief. And that simple language will help us relearn how we've been brought up to think of it. And it actually stops our healing. So we've been taught to learn that we should shove it down, that we should keep moving, that we should be busy, that it needs to be hidden, that our sorrow needs to be hidden from the world. We need to grieve in silence. We need to go inward and not let anybody see it. But really, grief, in order to be expressed and to clear out those that unresolved pain, it needs to be witnessed. It needs to be witnessed. It needs to be
Wow.
seen. And when we have space for it to be seen, we can find that solace within ourselves. That pain can kind of bloop, 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 like it bubbles up and out.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love
it's
how you
wild.
speak about it. Yeah, it is, but I love how you speak about it with so much love and wisdom. And yes, it is wild.
Wild.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I first thing I tell one of the first things that I tell people that I've experienced tremendous loss. Can I swear on this podcast?
You can do whatever you want.
Wonderful. The first thing I tell them, I said, I'm so sorry. This fucking sucks. And there's really nothing else to say. Like, this just fucking sucks. And they're like, it does fucking suck. It does. You know, we don't acknowledge that. We're so scared, or we tiptoe around it because we don't have the right language to support
Yeah.
one another in this community. And grief is something that is shared by everyone, and we're all tiptoeing around one another. I
Yeah,
always
because
say this
people don't
because
know how to deal with it. People don't
yeah,
know how to deal with it. And if you tell, it's like, it's just a nightmare. It's horrible. And then people, they get speechless. They don't know what to do.
yeah,
And then we're going to tiptoe. Indeed, you're going to take care. You're going to take care of the other people, because if you tell them the truth, they freak out. So then you're just like okay-ish, but then you ignore your own feelings. And then you're in this vicious circle. And then it takes 8 years to kind of give it a place and you can start living again.
mm-hmm. It creates so many vicious circles. It does.
And yeah, I ask you how you feel nowadays. I mean, to 2021 is just like yesterday.
Yes, yeah, it feels like yesterday. It does feel like yesterday. um I feel personally that because what one of the things of the language of grief that I help people understand is you don't move on from grief, much like you never really heal from grief. You'll hear people say, "Oh, I've healed my grief." That's not a thing. You know, I will always miss my sister. I will always long for her. I will always grieve her. Always. And I now know how to move with my grief as a companion. And that is the thing. These past 3 years of really giving myself the space to grieve, like really giving myself the space. And I might have days where I feel that nobody wants to listen to it anymore, and my husband's tired of it, and that's going to happen. But not giving up and realizing that it needs to come out. Grief is love, and that deep love that you had for that person, that's how much you are grieving. I grieve. I mean, I will grieve forever. I have grieved intensely for 3 years, and I feel as though that gift that I gave myself to grieve has allowed so much more space in me now to be able to explore some deeper healing that I spoke about before. It's really quite beautiful. It feels softer within me. My grief. It feels soft. It feels like a welcomed friend that
Wow.
walks with me now.
Wow. Well, especially the word welcome.
Yeah.
So you don't see grief as the enemy anymore, or
Mm,
like a burden, or like, "Ah," you welcomed it as a companion.
yeah, because it's a reminder. It it truly is a reminder. another thing that I love helping people understand in my work is finding that grace within themselves,
Mm.
that forgiveness, and all the feelings, like the bitter feelings that we have, that we really extend to others. Like, this person didn't show up for me in my time of grief, this person, and I'm just going to shut the door on them, and I'm going to get angry. When we go deep into our grief and we understand how unique it is to each person, and we talk about it in such a way that we heal those unresolved expressions, those hopes and dreams and desires, we end up getting so much grace for ourselves, and we extend it to others. So it becomes an extension to other people. So when I say that it is a welcomed friend, when I look at people now, I see them differently than I would have in the past. Then maybe my judgments, or my ego or my resentments would have clouded my judgment. Now I see a heart. I see someone that I have no idea what they've been through. I see pain,
Can I
and
can I
it's
can I
beautiful.
say you connected deeper with your truth and with your
Yeah.
with the woman you're supposed to be?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful and unwelcome gift.
Yeah, I mean, this one I'm never gonna forget anymore. Grief is the gift I never wanted. I mean,
It's a gift I never wanted.
I don't know if there's maybe it's time for you to write a book, and then this title is just
Oh,
out of this world. Um, for sure, people are watching and listening, and they want to know, what are the things you've done that helped you to make grief, to see grief as a companion, to accept it, like you say, it's forgiving, it's accepting, is embracing it with grace. What are the suggestions, the advice that you can give here right on the spot,
mm-hmm.
so they can
Uh,
be ready today?
yeah. Number one is to fill your cup.
Mm.
Please fill your cup and understand that it is not a selfish thing, because it affects everyone around you. It's truly so unbelievably correct that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So anything that you can do right now for your self-care, whether that be get a massage, go for a float, take a walk, drink a glass of water, call a friend, take a solo vacation, sit in quiet, sit in silence, create art. All of these things contribute to something that I like to call like your grief toolkit.
And
They're
I really
they're
like,
things that regulate your nervous system.
this is amazing, because I love what you're mentioning and the ideas you give as an inspiration, because sometimes when you're grieving, you're just paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like, getting out of bed or brushing your teeth is already too much. But now you're also mentioning some ideas, what everyone can do. So a little step or a little action. So taking a sip of water, or going for a walk, going out for nature, and start with a couple of minutes. So thank you for making it accessible.
I always told my sister that it's like one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, one breath at a time, like one breath at a time. And I really feel like that holds true, because when we are in it, when you're in it and you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't believe it's there, and you are just in the meh, and you're in the shit, and you're just like, oh, I don't think this is ever going to get better.
Oh,
you can't, there is no way that you have space for, you only have space for what you have space for, and you have to build those building blocks to feel better before you can even be ready to, it's all, I recorded a little video yesterday actually, and this applies to this, that it's never going to be one thing that's going to help you heal. It is all kinds of things. It's a word or a conversation you had with somebody. It's that glass of water you had. It's, taking that moment in the sunshine and just like taking a deep breath and feeling like, like just a moment of quiet. It's these baby steps that we have to take in order to open up a little bit more space, and then a little bit more space, and then a little bit more space, and then a little bit more space. And then, we can add things, but it feels more natural. It has to start with taking care of yourself. It has to start with the body. It has to start with nourishing yourself first in order to even get that movement, that sort of movement,
Yeah, nourishing, and then only you can go to movement. And also accepting that every day is different.
Yes.
And knowing that there will be a next day and a next breath.
Yes. It's a big part of my work with people in not knowing where to start with grief is I always begin with mindfulness. Always.
Mm.
Of just the senses, pulling into the present moment, starting right from there, and finding that consciousness, that awareness is so key.
Beautiful, beautiful. If there was something what you could have done different in these last couple of years, in your grieving period, in your new career and supporting people, what would that have been?
Well, my first instinct is I want to say that so I have been doing these healing connection circles for women that have been really powerful, and it's a space to bring your grief and your hard things and cultivate joy. And so my first instinct was to be like, oh, I wish I would have had that sooner. I wish I would have started that sooner. I wish I would have. And then instantly it got shut down. It got like ninja'd in half. And the true answer is I wouldn't have done anything different, because I would never be where I am right now. I truly believe that we as human beings and spiritual beings are ready when we are ready. When we learn, we're constantly learning. Like I'll constantly be learning. I'll constantly be a student of life. And when we're ready to heal, when we heal something else, or go into healing, not heal, but take a look at something else, it's only what we have been through to get us to that space in order to do that. So my answer is nothing.
That's so beautiful. And we have to honor the rhythm and the pace, and that there's the momentum that will come in various forms. So that's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for your inspiring words and being such an example, and the way you show yourself and you share your wisdom around grieving and also about evolving as a beautiful woman in this life. So I really want to thank you for that, because it's not so easy to show up and show yourself on the World Wide Web, and you do it in such a profound way. So for everyone out there, check her out. She's amazing. We will make sure that she will be one of our female leaders as of now, and there will be either a little program or meditation or something from her. I will discuss that with her, and we will definitely share. So yeah, I want to wrap it up and share a word of gratitude for making the time. And yeah, it's lovely chat.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you reached out. I think this is really beautiful timing and alignment, and I enjoyed this chat so much. This was lovely. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I also learned, well, I'm gonna remember the nourishment and the movement, and I will, life after loss, you said some beautiful things. Life after loss, grieving is the gift I never wanted. Wow, that one just hit me. Grief is love. And you are a true grief recovery specialist. So, wow. I mean, the world really needs you. So go out there, spread your wings, and keep me posted. Thank you so much.
I will. Same to you.
Thank you, love.